I'm going to take a minute. I had to come in here. There's just something that rose in my spirit so heavy, and the Most High would not allow me to keep it to myself. And in the conversation of which I was just speaking in and sharing. So, for whomever this is with, and for whomever this is for, whomever this is for, I'm just going to give it a moment. But I'm coming here. I have not been live for some time. It's been a minute. These are the words that rang so loudly just a moment ago as I was speaking. After coming from that mountain, I'm telling you, this has been an experience like none other. But these are the words that just rang from my spirit to share with someone. And the words are, do not allow the storm to dictate your future. Do not allow the storm to dictate your future. Do not allow the storm to dictate your future. I was reminded of that very moment in the midst of some things. I never forget this. It reminds me of what's happening right now. This is an end time word, very impromptu. It's actually a prophetic movement, the moment that's happening right now. I was leaving my grandmother's home, and as I'm leaving, it's raining really hard. It's raining so hard, and I was thinking, oh my God, should I just go home, because it started pouring. Well, I proceeded to go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and continue my route, continue what Yah pressed upon me to do, go ahead and get in that space. And so I started driving, and in the midst of me driving, it's just getting harder. The rain is pouring. And so as the rain is pouring, I'm driving through it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, let me look at the weather. So it said it's going to be 100%, but then I noticed it just said for about an hour, or maybe less than that. Not sure, because it didn't show it, but it just had it just in that time span of 12 o'clock. So I continue to drive, but I get on the phone, I make this call. In the midst of the call, these are the words that came, and that was, do not allow the storm to dictate your future. And this is an end time word. So I made the decision, even in the midst of the storm, all of the rain, I was going to continue to drive to where I was going. And as soon as I get through saying that word and sharing it with the person I was on the phone with, it stopped raining. The storm is stopped. It's just drizzling right now. I can see, I can drive. It's just drizzling. And so this reminded me of a time, I'm going to share this as well. It reminded me of a time I was driving to a city just 45 minutes from where I live. I was driving from that city. I had just got through doing a show. And I just got through doing this presentation, and in the car with me were about 4 other people. And I remember driving, and we were on the highway, and it was raining. It was pouring down. It was pouring down so much that I was looking, and people were pulling over. People were pulling over to stop driving. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm about to pull over too. And the Spirit of the Lord said, no, don't pull over. Don't pull over. He said, keep driving. And so he said, you may have to slow down to like maybe I probably was going maybe 10 miles per hour or less than that. But then he said to look in the rearview mirror. I looked in the rearview mirror, and there were people stopping, and they had pulled over to the side, and they stopped. And I kept going at 5-10 miles per hour. As I kept going, eventually the storm was just gone. There was no rain. I could see all of the rain stopped. And then he told me to look again. And I looked in my review mirror, and I noticed all those cars had stopped in the rain. And what God proceeded to tell me was this. He said, see, those people don't know that if they had just kept going, that they would have been out of that storm. But they have pulled over and they have stopped. And now what has meant to be just a moment in the storm, they have now made it longer than what was necessary. The storm was just only for a moment, but they stopped in the midst of the storm, and now they're being delayed a lot longer than what was necessary. So don't stop in the storm. Keep going through it, because there's so much ahead of you. It's going to be clear. You just got to keep going through it. The storm is not meant to overwhelm you and overtake you. The storm is just for that moment, but you must keep going. And that just reminds me of the experiences, what happens when we go through things in our lives. It's just for a moment. It's just for that time. You got to keep going through it. Because the storm should not dictate your future. It's just for a moment. That's really all I wanted to say. So whomever this is for, I want to encourage you to keep going through that storm. Because you'll look back and you'll realize it wasn't as long as you thought. But if you keep going, you'll realize it. But if you stop while you're in the midst of it, you will have no clue. Because oftentimes the storms are coming as a smokescreen to keep you from something, to keep you from going through. And you're stopping a lot longer, and you're staying in it a lot longer than what's necessary. Hey, Delisa. Hello. Hey, Charlene. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to hear from you. See you here. Hi, Marilyn. Terry. Hey, Terry. But yeah, it just made me think about that. That was one of those, it was a real in time moment. And I want to say this as well. You know how you've gone through life and you've made some not good decisions. Some decisions that if you could do it over again, you would have done it over again. You would have done some things differently. I'm here to tell you this. When you get to a point and you realize those decisions that you made were not good, and you're into a place where you're now making better decisions. We've all been there. But you're making better decisions. And you keep going in those good decisions. But what you got to remember is that you made some decisions that were not so good before. And those decisions have repercussions, rewards, consequences. And that they will come up during those good times in your life. And oftentimes they may discourage you, but don't allow it. Don't allow it to discourage you. And let me tell you why. It's important not to allow it to discourage you, and you keep the path that you are on. Because if you allow it to discourage you, you're going to make a decision to do something that is not going to be as rewarding. And you're going to still have to reap that. Allow those things to go ahead and surface, because it's about seed time and harvest. They must go ahead and manifest because it was sown. So if you can continue your good path, continue the decisions, continue moving forward. The good would then outweigh those indifferent or bad decisions that you've made in the past. But the enemy wants to discourage you. So I'm here to encourage you to keep going. That too is going to pass. And when it does, there's going to be so much that you can rejoice for. I said rejoice. Rejoicing is a powerful thing. I've started to not use the word excited anymore. I'd rather use the word rejoice. And hi, Queen Marsha and Aisha. I use the word rejoice instead of excited. I started researching the word excited for a reason, because I found that oftentimes there are people who don't, they started saying, and even myself would say, oh my gosh, I don't want to say I'm excited because I don't want to move from this place. I want to stay in this place. And I started researching what excited meant. And when I researched excited, do y'all really know what it means? When you really research the word excited. EX means to remove. Sight means to act, to see. So when you put the two words together like they do in excited, it means to remove from sight or remove from acting. Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to remove ourselves from sight, from seeing? Why would we want to remove ourselves from acting? And so it makes me think about, I'm called to the deep. Y'all know, those who know me know I'm deep, right? Y'all know I'm deep. The word of God says to ask, seek, and knock. He says to search out the word. Study to show thyself approved. A good workman need not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So with that being said, it means to remove yourself from action. Remove yourself from seeing. Well, I don't want to do neither one of the two. So I choose to no longer say that word, I'm excited. And that's going to come with the practice, because I've been saying that all my life. But what I found was, we find out the meaning of these words that we're saying and search them out, because we'll find out what they really mean, and we'll start watching what we truly say. And with that being said, I'm rejoicing. I'm joyful. I hope you are too. But rejoice, because you have a lot to be rejoicing about when you keep going. You keep going through that storm, because there's true rejoicing on the other side. This is Patrice D. Johnson, and I'm here. Oh my gosh. After a powerful mountain release. You all have a good day. Choose freedom. It's Friday.